experience from me.
Yeah, and I'm getting better. I did the Instagram ads, and I'm going to do some Facebook ads this week out of other clips once we see what the data shows from the demographic. So then, yeah, and then we'll post it, and then we'll be able to isolate that group and hit a bigger broadcast. It'll work. Now we got those first ones in with that data. We'll use that, and we'll be fine. We'll retarget. Let's see. Okay, we are live and ready to go. Hey everybody, this is the 6th episode of My Muscle Connection. Just me and Dibs today. Chris might join in later, but he has something he had to be at. Understandable, but today is I think it's a really important topic because it's something that can keep people from getting to the next level, or it could be something that keeps people from even getting started. And like I was telling you earlier when I was typing up those things and sending them to you, Dibs, a lot of the stuff I know from experience, how long it took me to finally get into it. And I know that some of the stuff we say is going to hit some triggers out there, but this is, once again, this is the shit that you don't want to hear, but you need to hear and need to face.
Yeah. So, one thing I love about what we're doing in our podcast is we're talk about shit that not everybody else wants to talk about. We're really getting deep, and to quote my buddy Tim Grover, we're getting down and dirty right now with our conversations of shit nobody wants to talk about.
Yeah, it's a lot of when I see clients and give consultations, I was actually talking to a friend about this today, about some of the stuff that I bring up and how I get away with saying it. And the reason is because it's the truth. Like the thing I used was when people are overweight and they talk about they need to lose weight and everything. And I say, they just mentioned like they had a kid or they had a grandkid. I'm like, okay, well, how do you see this happening when you grow up? Do you see this like you sitting on the couch, not being able to tie your shoes and this kid running around? Or do you see yourself like helping this kid, seeing him graduate, playing with him, helping with his homework? And you start hitting these triggers. And it's like, listen, I know you don't want to hear this, but you got to hear this because, if this is what it takes to get you off your ass. So that's like that's the stuff that we're using this podcast to talk about and trigger and get out there, because like I said, I don't hear a lot of people talk about this stuff, but it needs to be talked about. People need to stop getting butthurt and suck it the fuck up and start addressing this shit so that everybody can become a better person, take a step forward.
Yeah.
What did you today we're talking about the stuff that's pretty much fear, the things you're scared of, why you generate that fear, what causes it, and how to deal with it. I know, Dibs, I'll let you start with what you wanted to address, what you talked to me about.
I think, when I was thinking about fear, and this topic is going to go to a variety of different probably directions tonight. And the first thing I thought about with fear is how much fear tells you what exactly you should be doing. I always reference, because I have a lot of buddies that, that help guys like talk to women and stuff like that. And they said that fear of talking to that hot girl should tell you that you need to go talk to that hot girl. That fear of failing your exam should tell you that you should be studying to go take that exam. That fear of getting on stage tells you, hey, you need to be training to get on stage. So I think the first thing we need to acknowledge about fear, and this is something that Tim Grover was talking about with us very briefly about a year ago, is that fear kind of tells you what you need to be doing. And when you acknowledge that and you say, hey, I'm scared of this, that's what you should be going out. Now, I'm not talking about like jumping off, I'm scared of getting a DUI. I need to go drink a drink. I'm not saying that, but I'm talking about the competition type fear, the bettering yourself fear. And I think that's what the first thing we acknowledge what fear is. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's a very good point, because when I started competing, I can tell when I'm sitting at back getting ready to walk on stage, if I start getting scared or start getting afraid, that means that I need to be back in the gym the next day working harder, that I need to try better because I'm not ready. Mm-hmm. So, and that's happened a few times because I have, this is something I jumped into, try to learn on my own. So I made a lot of fucking mistakes, and, you think all is good, but like you said, like being beach ready is not stage ready. And I learned that a couple of times the hard way. And when I get backstage, I'm sitting there, I'm like, fuck, man, I just want this to get over with. I don't want to go out there. That's telling me I'm not ready. So instead of being like, this sport's not for me, I'm going to be a pussy and walk off, I start thinking, okay, I got to face this. What do I have to do? Because nothing would make me feel better than to come back to this situation and be calm and collective, knowing that I'm going to fucking tear it up. Just like, there was one, same thing with PRT, dude. How many people are scared going in the morning to PRT because there's a good chance they're going to fail, right? There was one that I actually trained my ass for. I did intervals. I got the weight off. I barely had to measure because I almost made the weight or some shit. And I showed up that morning and I was just chilling. Everybody's like, you all right? I was like, yeah, I mean, I did this 2 days ago. I'm not going to blow it out of the water. So let's just get this shit done so I go back to fucking work. It's a complete different feeling. And so I've always wanted to be backstage with that feeling, knowing that it's going to be okay, because most of the time I'm scared because I know that I fucked up along the way and I wasn't ready.
Right. And you know what? One of my biggest teachers I ever had, one of my life teachers, his name is Ross Jeffries. All right. Ross taught me a very valuable tool actually 10 years ago that helped me conquer pretty much any fear that I had. And because he stopped me from getting into a loop. Right. And so what happens is whether you're going on stage, whether you're competing in a football competition or anything, most people won't actually take a first step until they're 100% sure that they're going to win or they're going to be successful. But since you don't know you're going to be successful, you'll go back and you'll study some more, you'll train harder, you'll work harder, and then you'll try to get back, but you're not 100% sure, and you go into this loop. And now this people get into this cycle for years. I know a guy right now who easily be top 10 in the Olympia. No doubt in my mind, he would be top 10 in the Olympia. But he never even once stood on stage because he said he's not 100% sure he's going to win yet. So he's waiting until he knows. That kid told me that 8 years ago.
Jesus.
8 years ago. And I actually got tired of asking him when he's coming on stage. He goes, this year, bro, this year. But he'll never do it. That is somebody who's living in fear. That's somebody who's not accepting the fact that the worst thing that can happen is that you learn something. I try to explain to him, look, man, you face your fear and you come in dead last, you'll just learn something. You learn what didn't work. And people don't have that. They want to go immediately go right away, win and be successful. But that's not always the case.
Sometimes losing will make a winner. If you go out there and you get your ass beat, you got two options. You can call it quits or you can work harder and try again. So and I did a podcast on this years ago by myself about how when people are afraid and people get beat, it's like there's only two ways to handle that: is do better or quit. And sometimes when you do get your ass beat, it's the one thing, it's embarrassing and you hate it, and it makes you dig really deep and be like, you know what, this shit's not fucking happening anymore. And you go after it. Next thing you know, the person starts winning. Look at Ronnie Coleman. How many times he got his ass beat before he started winning? So, I mean, he could have quit, but he kept going and it became one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time.
Winning, like Tim says, winning is that lover that takes you out at night. Winning is that really, really hot chick that you finally will go out with. And she just kisses you at night. And then she leaves you in the morning. You never see her ever again. And you want it again. That's what winning is. Because let me tell you something. You'll be replaced, right? You're going to be replaced. You will be replaced. You win that show, guess what? You got to do it again. And the moment that winning, that sensation's over, you're back at it, back trying to beat somebody else, chasing that feeling of winning. And winning and fear almost go fucking hand in hand. I would tell you, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm absolutely 100% petrified of my next show. I'm scared to fucking death, dude. I got a kid from Jacksonville calling me out that I got to go out and compete against. And if you think I'm not scared, you're out of your fucking mind, dude. I'm absolutely petrified. But you know what? I have two options. I could hide and just say, well, I'm not going to go out there until I'm completely ready. And I know, or I'm going to say, you know what? I've been working my ass off. I'm going to bring the fucking fight to him. I'm going to bring the fucking fight. If I lose, I get over it.
Yeah. That's the only two ways you can deal with it. A lot of it's how we deal with the fear. And it goes back into that breaking out of the comfort zone and all that shit too. It all goes hand in hand. And when you're talking about that feedback loop, going back to what you said even earlier, the guy being afraid to step on stage should have told him it's time to go out there and throw yourself to the wolves and see where you're hanging, because that's the only way to really get rid of it. It's just going to keep haunting you, and you're going back over and over and over again. It never goes away until you finally either quit, and then you got to deal with being Mr. What If 10 years down the road. Like, well, I wonder if I would have grown a set of balls and fucking done it. And it's still going to be haunting at you forever. So you might as well go in there and throw yourself to it and see where you stand.
fucking all the greats have fucking sucked. We live in the social media world now where everyone's fucking perfect on there. Everyone's perfect. Everyone's a champion. Everyone's DME for fucking training because they took first place in this novice show. And I've seen a guy who did this too. He is training for Olympia. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, what the fuck, training for Olympia? Dude, you're training for the Olympia amateur, right? They got to word it correctly to look like they're this winning champion when, like, what have you done, motherfucker? You know, so social media has set a horrible precedence for the reality of the world. Everyone's a winner. Everyone's a champion. Everyone's this, everyone's that. And you don't see the fucking pain, the suffering, the relentless, the failing, the endless. All the greats have sucked. Did you know that Kobe Bryant shot 4 air balls his first game, I think, with the Clippers?
Yeah.
They didn't think that fucking guy was going to make it. They're like, this guy shot 4 fucking air balls, bro. You know what I mean? So, you know, he himself had to face that fear. Think about how he had to go tackle shit the next fucking day.
Yeah. That's I always think when you're afraid of something, and I've recently started trying to tell myself to be more like this because I was bad for taking steps backwards when I started second guessing. But, you know, here lately I've been like what I said earlier, I've noticed that when you just go for it or attack it, it goes away, whether you win or lose or whatever. If you go after it, you know, it's going to go away. Like, you're going to know, and and if you didn't work out your way, you know what you got to do better next time, or if you come back around again. But that, I think that fear generates into that what if mindset, and it just fucking eats at you. So it's better off just to go and take the shot. I mean, you've got a 50% chance. Like when you go talk to the girl, you got a 50% chance she says no. One out of every 5 is going to say yes most of the time. So, I mean, they'll go to if the first one says no, go to the other 4. I mean,
I train to make the competition easier. You know, I think that's what, like, a Michael Jordan type thing. Michael Jordan trained so the competition was easier. You know, if you're doing the right things and you're giving yourself 100% effort, yeah, you're going to be scared, but you have to at least know that you did everything you could do. You know, yeah. I've never cheated on my diet. I've never missed a workout. I've never missed a meal. I think I can count on my hand how many meals I miss. And when I do miss one, I lose my fucking shit, because I want to know that when the show is over, if I come in first or last, I did everything in my fucking power, that I just lost to someone who was just more talented than I am.
Yeah. And I think people that are just trying to get into the sport, and what they don't realize is every single thing you do from the moment you decide to get on that stage till the time you get on that stage, everything you do is going to reflect how you look when you get up there. Mm-hmm. So when you miss a meal, people are like, man, just calm down. Like, you don't fucking understand. I just took a huge step backwards because I got too fucking lazy, and I didn't troubleshoot and think about how to get around this problem to eat this food or to get this workout. So yeah, it's a little thing, but, you know, if I let this one go, then it happens again. It happens 3 or 4 times. That shit adds up. Next thing you know, I'm fucking 10th place, and I'm having to explain to them, hey, I could have beat you, but I got fucking lazy, and nobody wants to do that.
If you really want to be successful in bodybuilding, take 2 words out of your vocabulary: just and only. Take those words out. It's just a beer. It's only one workout. I just missed one meal. No. It is one beer. It is one workout. It is a meal you missed. You take those words out, the whole sentence now is something else, because that's how a champion looks at it. I don't look at it as just one meal. I look at it, motherfucker, that is one meal I missed. That there set me back. I mean, somebody else is not missing that meal. While you're resting when you should be training, somebody else is working harder. You know?
Yeah. The bodybuilding, competing, being an athlete, life in general, 2 things: troubleshooting and problem prevention. If you can master those 2, you can succeed in life. But if you are bad at troubleshooting and problem prevention, you're going to have a rough fucking road.
Problem planning is problem solving. Start thinking about the shit that can go wrong and prepare. It's not, look, carrying your food around with you all day is not that hard. And I don't really know what other people do for a living, so I can't speak, but I would justifiably say that there's nothing that can stop you to eating 7 ounces of chicken breasts shouldn't take any more than 5 minutes if you really rush.
It's not hard.
Right? I've literally had meetings where I said, excuse me, I'm gonna use the bathroom. in the bathroom, ate the chicken breast, came back, chicken breast smell on my breath. They knew what I was doing. Yeah. The guy looked at me and goes, did you go eat? I said, I had to go eat. You have to go eat. You have to go take a piss, right? You got to poop. That takes fucking 5-10 minutes, so you have no excuse to not miss a meal. You know what I mean? You have a 2 to 4 hour window. You can't plan around that. That's your fucking fault.
And you know what the people say when you come back and they're like, fuck, you went to eat. The first thing that comes to their head is like, that guy really wants to fucking win.
Yeah.
Like that's the mentality, because that's the mentality you have. And that's why you do that. So when people start, oh, he's crazy, or oh, he could have waited. Like, no, that guy wants to fucking win. That's why he went to the bathroom and ate. You guys go out in the smoke shack all the time and kill your fucking health. So don't be busting my balls for using a bathroom break to get some chicken down.
When I was on deployment, we were doing a 12-hour working party. And I was in my left hand, I had a stick of salmon, 7 ounces of salmon I stole from the mess decks. I'm eating the salmon as I'm moving boxes. The guy's like, you eating? I'm like, I don't miss meals, bro. Protein and fat. Got done eating that, wiped off my fucking hand, then took a fucking thing of fucking dry ass fucking box of Cheerios. We got a little Cheerios. I'm eating Cheerios. That was it. Salmon, Cheerios, and water, man. You can't ruin my fucking day. All right. Listen, cold salmon and Cheerios and water. All right. I fucking did what I had to do because, winning to me, that's more important than anything. The sacrifice of and that's the thing about winning is that it looks like it's right in front of you, but it might not be. I learned that at the New York Pro. I learned that at the Atlantic Coast Pro. When I suffered, I'm sitting here, no one's working as hard as I am because I was on a ship. I was doing this. I was hot weather. I had to work all day, 6 o'clock at night. Then I had drills at 4 a.m. I made no excuse. I get up at 2:30 to do cardio, and I still didn't win because winning makes it look like it's right here, and it just takes it all away.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? When I Uber, I have my food in the front, and I will eat in between picking people up with the mask. I'm pulling because you gotta wear the mask when you fucking Uber. So I'm pulling down, and it smells like fucking chicken and damn mac oil and shit in the car. But if I can do that, so when my clients were telling me, oh, I didn't have time, I'm like, dude, I'm eating and driving and picking people up all at the same time, and I'm not missing a beat. Like it's. And I'm not even, I've made like default second places and stuff. And I didn't give it up. I just I just need to work harder. I'm going to fucking win one before I'm done with this shit. And that's all. And doing that, I've learned so much that the shit I can do with people sometimes is jaw dropping because I fucked up so much. I know every fucking bullshit they're going to tell me and I already know how to get around it because I've done it. That's why with this topic we're getting into is I know what these people think and how to get around it because I've been there. I've been afraid to go into the gym. I've been afraid to talk to people. I've been afraid of not getting results and trusting what people tell me. I've been there, So, I know exactly what's going through their mind. Speaking of, that's one thing I do want to cover because that's probably one thing I hear a lot, especially in gyms like mine or sometimes Powerhouse because it's got a reputation for being more hardcore than most gyms. When people are afraid to even come in there, what are some of the stereotypes do you think that generate those fears, and what do you usually tell people?
The stereotypes is that if you're new to the gym and you're coming in and you don't know what you're doing and stuff like that, or you're I hear it from a lot of people. Well, I'm not where I really need to be right now. I tell you one thing is for sure. There's not one person in that fucking gym who is where they want to be. Otherwise, we wouldn't be there.
That's a good point.
We wouldn't be in the gym. So, any real true athlete, true bodybuilder, a true athlete is not at all going to judge any of you, whether you're 380 pounds, females, trying to lose weight, or if you're a 115 pound, 6 foot dude. And, if somebody came up to me and was just like, hey man, look, I'm new to the gym. You might show me how to do this. There's not one real athlete or bodybuilder that would stop. Say, hey, yeah, of course, man. I'd love to help you out. That's what we want that. We want the best for everybody else because we've been there. I've been there. I was 140 pounds before. I was a fat kid before. Y'all saw my photo. I posted it. So don't be upset when you go to the gym and you see all these people. Not one person's where they want to be. We're all trying to get better.
And we didn't start there. When people come in and talk about all these trainers, they're like, dude, we do this job because we were where you were at one point. And it's either a way of giving back, or we gain so much knowledge that we know what it's like to go through and learn this shit on your own, and we don't want that for you. And like you said, like nobody in a gym worth of shit is going to discriminate against anybody trying to better themselves, because like I said, we're all doing that. We've all started somewhere. And I usually tell people this story. I know you know about it, but at one point I was training a transgender woman getting ready for a contest, and she was worried about it. And I said, as soon as people see you're there to work, nobody's going to give a fuck. Like that's all that matters, is that you're either fucking off or you're there trying to go somewhere. And once they saw her gaining muscle, losing weight, getting ready, going to posing, people started helping her pose. There were pros in there that would help her pose, bodybuilding and figure pros. And people were getting behind her. People went to the show to watch her. People backed her up. That's all that fucking matters. Are you there to work, or are you there to fuck off? And once they see you're there to work, they don't give a shit who you're fucking, what color you are, what you got between you. They don't give a shit. They're just there to work. That's the common denominator that unites everybody together.
Yep. That's something that we all, it doesn't matter race, gender, whatever. Are you there to work, and are you putting your weights back when you're done? That's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the one thing we're all concerned with. And lost my train of thought.
Yeah. Nobody's ever going to, if you're in there and you're really trying to become somebody, no one's ever going to, or they shouldn't. And if they do, somebody close to them is probably going to say something. And another point too, because people are always thinking that they're getting stared down and shit when they first come into the gym. Go on to social media and like look up the hashtag to the gym and look what everybody's doing. They're too busy posting selfies of themselves to even give a fuck what you're doing in there. So they don't even know you're in there half the time because they're trying to look good for the fucking gram. So they're not sitting there staring you down and shit. They're too busy worrying about themselves.
And if you're really looking to make a transformation, like let's say you are that person and you're going to hire a trainer, how long is it going to take is probably another big fear too. It's going to take a month and it take a year. I would say justifiably, you get on a diet, you start training, I would say 4 months. I would say 16 weeks would be enough to see a significant change in your body.
Yeah.
And that's just saying not like, you're not going to be Arnold in 16 weeks. You're not going to be Ronnie Coleman in 16 weeks. You're going to see your own personal change. If you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to build muscle, I would say 4 solid months of consistency, and you will be able to see like, wow, there's a fucking difference there. So, and that's not a long time. That's really not a fucking long time. What month are we in now? We're in April, May, June, July, August. By the end of summer, you can be fucking ripped by end of summer. That's perfect timing right now, to hop on.
Yeah, you should definitely, if you go all in for 4 months, you should be buying new clothes pretty soon, because your other ones don't fit. They're either too tight because you're getting bigger, or they're too big because you're getting smaller.
It's funny we said that people are too concerned with themselves to really be worried what you're doing. Reminded me of 2013, and I was actually I was really scared to talk to this girl because it was a public area, and everyone was like, in my mind, I'm saying, what is everyone else going to think? They're going to see me, I was a short little chubby kid, and girls for the most part like tall guys, and she's like this tall, beautiful girl, and I'm like, oh my God, if I go talk to her, everyone's gonna be like, hey, look, there's that guy talking to that pretty girl, right? And then my mentor told me, he was like, dude, you're not that fucking important, bro. He's like, you think you're that important? People are going to stop what they're doing and give a shit that you're talking to a pretty girl? And nobody gives a fuck. At the end of the day, everyone's really concerned with themselves. And, in the gym, everyone's really concerned with what they're doing, their gains, their muscle. We'll be there to help if you need it. Don't ever be ashamed to ask. But for the most part, no one is sitting there going to be like, oh, look at that new person over there who can't pick up 15 pounds. No one's going to say that.
So let's see. I want to go over a couple of quick points that generate fear and we'll go over what we think about them. For instance, we went over the gym thing. Now, a lot of people get afraid when they see how much it costs. Like, let's say you're going to go get a trainer and you're joining a gym and you got to pay. And people are kind of hesitant because they're afraid to spend the money. Mm-hmm. What's the first thing that comes to your head, or what's the first thing you say to them?
I had that a long time ago, actually, before I met Mike. Mike was probably the best coach I ever had. He was one of my best friends. And he was expensive. And I went to one of my buddies and I was like, how do you handle this? And he was like, dude, you have that workout for the rest of your life. That knowledge is forever. You write down, if you train, if you go and you sign up with Jed puts you through a program, you write that shit down, you put it in your Google Drive, you got that workout forever. So that's why I tell people, you're not paying for just a workout and then you're done. You're paying for the rest of your life. You have these training routines. So you got to think 7 years of training, training with Mike. I've learned so much from him that I'm actually taking people on and training with their style and making transformations. Like, oh my God, how do you know all this? And I was like, well, I just worked out with Mike and picked his brain. So every penny is worth it, the knowledge. You can't put a price in education. You cannot.
If there's one thing I've taken from Mike, it's how to take a machine that's designed for one thing and do 40 different fucking things with it. I do that shit at IHF. People are like, what? How do you use it for this? Where'd you get this? I'm like, dude, fucking Mike is the master of this shit, man. He'll take a machine, he'll figure out 6 different ways to use it for shit that's even better than what the machine was originally designed for. And so being around him, seeing him do that, I start getting really creative when I start seeing other machines and how to do that.
Mm-hmm. I started doing that myself, and it didn't really work out that great. I'm over here. Dan, hey, Mike, is this right? And he's like, oh God. Like, I'm trying to get in your mind, like trying to figure out how he does that. But I think that's, he's been doing this for 30 years, man. I think maybe another 10 more years, I'll start having that type of creativity.
I talked to him last week and I'm trying to get him to come on and talk about some of his shit. He says he's interested, but like I've asked him a bunch of times before. So I like to get him on because people need to realize how much knowledge this guy has and how far.
That's right. And for the people watching, this show is actually, it's getting a lot better. We're working on sponsorships, and we're gonna having some special guests come on. I have an actual hypnotist that I wanted to come on in the next few weeks to actually not just talk about fear, but actual steps to controlling the fear using a type of hypnosis, self-hypnosis. I've used it before. I don't want to talk about it tonight. I want to save it for another podcast. And I want one of my guests is one of my best friends, and I want him to actually give you practical tools that you can use to control fear. So this stuff's getting, appreciate all the support from everybody, that I'm hearing about the podcast. They love what we say, love what we talk about. That feeds us more wanting to do this.
Yeah. And I was going to ask when you want to start bringing some guests on. We've had some good ideas for some, and hopefully that'll be soon. Now, when it comes to the cost thing, when I get that with people when they're afraid to spend the money, usually I'll point them in the direction of, well, you're not going to be going out and raising hell and running up bar tabs and stuff anymore because you're dedicating to this now. So a lot of stuff that you buy and do, you're not going to be able to do for the whatever period amount of time you're dedicating to this. So a lot of that transfers over. Plus, you'll go out and get a tattoo, put 10 on your window. Shit, it doesn't really fucking matter. But when it comes to your health, your blood work, your future, whether you're going to see your grandkids graduate and all that, for some reason you're hesitant. If it comes to something that's nice and pretty in a box, you want to buy it, but that box sits on your shelf. You never open it up and get the program out and never do it. To see now you're in a position where you're going to be held accountable. And now we're at the point of, are you actually wanting to do this, or are you just bullshitting the whole time? Because I think that's one of the reasons people are afraid to put the money down, is because now they're being tested. Do you really want to do this program? Do you really want to jump in and have me up your ass and make sure you're doing everything and being held accountable and find out why you can't get in shape? Because I'm going to point it out for you. So I think right there, it's either they're afraid they can't afford it, and then you tell them how to get around that, or they really don't want to do it.
I experienced that firsthand. When I was on the ship, I got certified by NASM as a personal trainer. I did 1 year of free training with me because two things. I want to see if I actually know what the fuck I'm doing. And I want to see how I want to learn a little bit hands-on, because it's one thing to get certified, and then you actually got to take on clients and see if you know your shit. One thing I learned from that year is that if you don't charge people, or people don't pay us, they're not going to commit to it. When people actually pay for something, they're going to stick with it. Free training is the worst thing that a personal trainer can do, because people will show up when they feel like it. They'll show up late. They won't stay committed. You might get one or two people maybe that just love it to do it, that are willing to, to take an opportunity. But I would say 99% of the people, they ain't going to stick out for more than a month.
I've had two people in my entire career, and I've been a trainer for about 7, going on 8 years, I think. I'd say closer to 10. I've had 2 people, and I've trained hundreds of people that I trained for free, and they stuck with it and actually went on stage, and one of them fucking won overall. And that was, and so I mean, that tells you right there that they for the for you to find somebody dedicated to do it and do it for free is like once in a fucking blue moon. And I actually charge these people to start with. And then something I think they came back to me after the first time and wanted to go again, and they trained with me. So I was like, okay, you know, we'll do it. And I cut them a deal, and they kept with it because I knew they were going to stick with it.
Yeah.
But that was 2 people out of hundreds I have worked with online and in person. So everybody else I've ever helped for free, they'll do it for a month or 2, then they fucking disappear. They don't check in. Hell, that's most of the people that pay. Usually the people that are sticking with you are the ones that'll buy like the 3 or 4 months up front, and they'll drop the damn money right there. Or they're going to train with you 4 or 5 days a week, paying $700, $1,000 a month. Like those are the people that are going to stick with you because they're ready to commit because they see the value in it for one thing, and they're willing to pay it. So it's
That's I mean, you hit the nail on the fucking head, dude. You said it.
That's I noticed that after a few years of training people.
You know what I think? I really do believe this. It's hard for really to talk about. I think that every single person, for the most part, has the same fucking ability as everybody else. I really believe. I think, are there freaks in nature? Yes, absolutely. Are there super fucking talented people? Yeah, but unless you were born with a disability, you have the same fucking skill as the guy next to you. You just got to put the fucking effort in. That's really what it comes down to, man. Follow the right effort, find what works for you, and do it fucking consistently for a fucking year. You know, and even if you have a disability, if you, let's say you don't have hearing, you have something else that's going to make up for it. Maybe better eyesight, better feel. You know, I really fucking believe that at the end of the day, we're all fucking equal. We all have the same talents and skills. And, you know, one guy's going to win, one guy's going to lose. You know, that's why we fucking do this. And then you get back up, you try it again. And, you know, look at Chris Bumstead and Breon, you know, back and forth. You know, is Chris really better? Is Breon really better? They're both fucking great. You know, they're both incredible athletes. We all have. The thing is that the road to paradise starts in fucking hell. People don't want to fuck up people. That's fucking what Tim told me, man. Like, people don't want to fucking go through that suffering and pain and that dark place in your mind. Like, everyone sees me, I'm the happiest fucking kid, man. I'm always joking, laughing. We're always busting balls. And, you know, I go to sleep at night with a smile on my face. But when I get into that fucking gym and I get into the zone, man, I can go into a dark fucking place. You know, 2005 was probably the darkest of my life. I almost killed myself that year. People don't know that. I almost killed myself. And it was because I grew up in a house where at 18 years old, life ends and you just work until you die. And my stepdad, for anyone who's read my book, First Call Outs, I published 2 years ago, you know, I talk about that. My stepdad would always sit there and tell me, you know, hey, time's running out, 18, it's all over. So in 2005, I had the biggest wrestling match of my life. It was a school we never lost against. The score was 36-36. And it came down to me. And within 2 minutes, I slipped in a 5-point move and got pinned, and our town lost. That night, I was ready to end it because I'm like, well, I turned 18 soon anyway. So life ends next year. I got to get married and just work the rest of my life. That was back to my mentality. And my brother stopped me. I wasn't like gonna kill myself, but it was like contemplating it. And my brother had me listen to a song called St. Elmo's Fire, which is still on my motivation playlist, right? And it really got me out of that dark, that back into the grind, saying, hey, I got to let this shit go and train. Let me tell you, when I get into that gym, I never the fuck again ever want to have that happen. I never want to come in, lose that. I never want to come in last. When I did the Atlantic Coast Pro after the New York Pro, I didn't do well at all. My body was so beat up, so torn. I should not have done it. I was like underfed. Things were, I was tired from the ship, and I never wanted to go through that fucking pain again. But I get up every fucking day and I train so fucking hard. I eat every fucking meal because I know how to get into that dark place. I can get into that darkness. And some people I think are afraid to go there. And I think that you really want to win shows, man. You really want to be a great, whatever the fuck it is, you need to get into that dark fucking place. You got to take yourself there and know when to get in and know when to get out. Let me ask you, Jen, right? I had this conversation with Tim the other night, right? I had this on Tuesday night in our Down and Dirty group. What day is New Day? What time does it start? What time does the New Day start?
Here it's 1400.
No. I'm talking about the clock.
It would be
midnight.
0000, yeah.
Midnight, right? Well, the first page of the Bible, God said what? Let there be
light.
When you plant a seed in the soil, right? You put it in the darkness. Everything fucking grows in the dark. The new day starts not at 6 a.m. The new day starts at the darkness, right? The difference is that people are afraid to go into the dark, but that's where your growth is going to happen. I know how to get into there, and it's a scary fucking place. Now, the topic of fear, I get scared sometimes when I'm training to the point where fucking I want to throw up, but I'm so scared of coming in last again that I'll stay in that fucking dark place until there's absolutely nothing fucking left in my body, because I'm scared of that fucking coming in last. I'm scared of embarrassing myself. So, but what keeps me going is the vision and the faith that I'm going to end up winning. And you read Relentless, so you know about your dark side, right? So you really want to grow. Growth happens in your darkest fucking moments. Growth happens when you don't have any fucking money, but you find it anyway. Your growth happens when your fucking car breaks down 6 weeks before prep, and you fucking find the money to fix it. And then look how much better of a person you are at the end of that fucking prep. Not just the show, but look how much better of a fucking person you are. Can you handle that? That's my question anyways. Are you willing to handle all that extra shit that's going to come along? Are you willing to go into that dark place?
I think sometimes people don't know how to get there. They're so used to being happy. Sometimes I have trouble going there. I have to remind myself some things that happened last time I got on stage or something like that, to be like, okay, now I pretty much have to remind myself, why the fuck am I in here training so hard? Mm-hmm. And then I'm okay after that, because I don't want that to happen again. Now, I know we touched on this a few episodes ago, kind of, it falls under the fear of the unknown, but people get afraid of being alone. And there's that transition time where you're having to leave friends behind before you find, I talked about, I think 2 episodes ago, before you find the new environment, the new friends that are supporting what you're doing. But, you're in this, like a bunch of the frat boys and stuff, and you decide you want to get healthier or go bodybuild or whatever, and those guys aren't down for it. So there's going to be this period where you have to break off and go from being a follower to being a fucking leader. And, eventually over time, you cross paths with other guys that want to do the same shit, and you start hanging out with them because you guys understand why you're taking Tupperware everywhere you go and all this shit. And the environment starts molding around what you're wanting to do. But that comes after you kind of pay your dues in this point of being incredibly fucking lonely. And I think people have a fear of being alone, especially today where everybody is used to being spoon-fed information and bullshit. They're afraid to have a complete fucking thought on their own. And we're bad for that right now. You can tell somebody something on TV and they will go outside and it's not there and they will still fucking swear it's there. So for them to break off from the group and be a leader is like really hard for people to do today, I believe, because they're afraid of generating a thought of what people are going to think if they do something different, and they're afraid of being alone. So what would you tell somebody that has that issue?
I would say if they say they're scared of being alone, I would say alone is when you're going to develop the most. That's when you're gonna find the best in you, and you're gonna find the worst in you. That's what the price of winning is. Winning brings out the worst in you and the best. And you have to find out what the fuck's, and you know, I learned it in 2019 when I was alone for that whole prep. It was the most emotionally hard time of my life because I remember Friday night at 8:30 going to sleep and just being like, here I am in bed by myself, getting ready to get up tomorrow morning to go to the gym. It's by myself, then spend the day alone cooking by myself. Yeah, I was alone, but you know what? I was able to handle it. Now that I'm actually in a serious relationship, I handle everything by myself, but I can also handle her burdens too when she has trouble and she's struggling and she knows how to take some off me. So I think when you learn your independence and you learn how to handle stuff, when you are with someone and you are with the right crowd, it makes it a lot easier. But you have to learn how to take things on your own. At the end of the day, your journey, your chase is yours. You know, even I will say, I had this conversation with Amanda last week. I was like, you know, you're training for your show. I'm training for my show. You're going this way. I'm going that way. And we're just trying to hold hands on the way through because you have all this stuff that you got to get done. You have your job, your work, your coaches, your training. I got the same thing on my end. And I can't do the work for her. She can't do the work for me. The only thing we can do is just take little burdens off each other throughout the week. Hey, I can do this. I can do that for you. Hey, can you just do that for me? But at the end of the day, your chase is your own, and you have to realize that.
Yeah. I think when that point when you are alone and you stop getting influenced by people around you, it does help you find out who you are. And some of those people you break away from, when they see you later on down the road and you're healthier or you look better or you're winning, whatever it is you're training for, those are the guys that now become followers and start looking up to you. It could be the same guys that were giving you shit for breaking away. But at some point on down the line, they're either going to be following or develop some respect, or they might still be hating. You know why they're hating? Because they know they can't do that.
Here's a tip for everybody else, right? People that have haters or people that talk shit. People talk shit for one reason: to stay relevant in your life. When you cut people out, right? When you cut people out of your life and they're talking shit, they just want to be relevant to you. And the only way to do that is to talk about you when you're not there. So fuck them. Let them stay relevant in your life. That's the only thing they're doing.
It's a good point. I didn't think about that. I know a lot of people talk shit because they're either jealous or they know they can't do it. And the only way they can still feel, I guess, like you're saying, or can feel important or make themselves feel better is to knock you down. So that's why you can't let it bother you. Because if you let it bother you, then they end up winning anyway.
And people are going to try to bring it. And the people that don't talk shit, that hate, they're going to try to bring you down to their level. They'll be the ones coming with a smile on your face and the beer in their hand. Come on, man, it's just a drink, dude. Because they know they can do it, and they will try to talk you out of it. They'll try to put their limitations on you. And I had to deal with this in the military. I've had a lieutenant sit me down and tell me, you should not be focusing on bodybuilding right now. You need to be focusing on your career. And you didn't get this school specifically because you're more concerned with your bodybuilding than you are your career. And I was like, how? I told him, I was like, how? I focus on my bodybuilding on my off time. I don't understand. Well, you're bringing it. He was just upset that he knew that he couldn't do it. That was the truth. I didn't realize at the time because I was young. It was 7 years ago. But people will put their own limitations and their beliefs and make you want this and make you feel as if you should not be feeling like this. Only you know what's good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you're doing your job and everything. So why is he even say anything about it in the first place? Yeah, it's a good point. Speaking of military, talk about during the coronavirus when you were still training and stuff, because I'm sure there were fears of getting caught or going to, doing what you had to do to make sure you didn't miss workouts or anything like that. Because I know for a period of time they had gyms closed or whatnot. So what did you have to do to get through that, and what fears did you experience, and how did you get around that?
Fucking COVID-19, right? That's what made or break motherfuckers. I was paying $200 a week to sneak into a gym. I'm not gonna say which gym, but I was in Jacksonville. I knew a guy who had a privately owned gym that looked like a supplement store, and I was paying him, and he was letting me sneak in, had a whole gym to myself. And then eventually some douchebag decided to post videos while I was training in there and got us busted. Then after that, I had to drive an hour and a half a day to another state just to train. So I would work out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That was my workout split. And after work on Tuesday, I get off around 4. I drive to the gym, get there about 5:36, work out for an hour, get home at about 8:39, eat, go to sleep, do it again the next day. And it was scary because I was afraid of obviously getting caught. I wasn't really scared of getting sick, but I was scared of getting caught because if I got caught, I was going to get in trouble. But you have to be, if you're going to be an individual, you have to take those risks. When I was in Port Norfolk, I was walking 2 miles a day to the nearest gym. It was a 2-mile walk there, train, walk 2 miles back. And then one day it rained, torrential downpour. And I still walked all the way there, worked out for an hour, walked all the way back in the soaking wet rain. And, you get through shit like that. It makes like now easy because I live around the corner from the gym and the gyms are open. So I was pretty fucking scared, of getting in trouble. I was scared of getting caught. I was scared of fucking, what would happen if my command found out. But those are the risks you got. You have to take if you're going to be a winner. Winning doesn't give a fuck. Winning does not give a fuck if the gym is closed. You're either going to fucking show up or you're not. You're either going to work out or you're not. You're going to diet or you're not. Winning does not care, right? Winning is, I want everyone to think about winning as that really hot chick that you're trying to impress, because that's what winning is, right? Everybody wants a date with that winner, with winning. And it doesn't give a shit. It doesn't give a fuck if you're going to show up or not. You're going to show up, you're going to show up. And for those the book Winning is coming out in 2 weeks. You can pre-order it. Y'all can DM me. It's by Tim Grover. If you never read Relentless, fucking read Relentless. You guys need to read it. Winning is coming out in 2 weeks. I got it pre-ordered. And a lot of the shit we're talking about is either directly from the book or what Tim has taught me. And, that's why I sit and I think about winning all the time now. It's all I think about. It's all I want to do is chase that next fucking win. What is it? Is it right now for me, it's getting to the Olympia, and it seems like just one win is all I need. Just one win. Is it right there or is it back here? It's fucking scary.
Yeah. Well, let's see. One more I want to touch on before we call it a day. And I'm bringing this up because the answer is really obvious, I think. Well, I'll tell you what I usually tell people. But people that want to change, want to get healthier, look better, win, whatever it is, but they're going into a world they've never been to before. It's the whole fear of the unknown, right? It's like people, when they're afraid of change, they're afraid of going into the unknown, and they will try to talk themselves out of it because of it. So, like for instance, when people start questioning the methods that I start telling them that they need to do, because they'll tell me they did keto and they did 1,000 calories and they did. So I'm like, well, listen, I'll start poking holes in their shit. I'm like, well, you fucked up here, you fucked up there. This is what we got to do. We got to go the opposite. You got to get your metabolism up. You got to eat, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Well, I don't know if that'll work. I'm like, well, obviously, out of all the choices we have, it's the only goddamn thing you have not done. So at this point, you have nothing to fucking lose. Why are you scared to do it? I mean, I'll give you this plan. You say it's too much food and you're afraid to eat it, but we already know not eating the food doesn't work because you're still fat and you came to me in the first place. So why are you so fucking scared to do what I tell you to do? Plus, I can show you photo after photo after photo after photo of everybody I've worked with that this has worked with. So why is this one person so afraid when there's more than enough reassurance that they're going to be better off giving this a shot?
This goes to what Ross Jeffries calls as a confidence issue. So, I don't like the word confidence. I hate it because when people talk about confidence, right, they're talking about doing something 1,000 times and 1,001 time they're going to do it. So the guy they're saying this because they don't have confidence that's going to work. So they want to know that it's going to work, right? But what we talked about before, they're not sure. So they're going to argue until they're 100% sure. And they go into this loop. I think the best thing to do is say, look, here's this diet. If this doesn't work, we're going to adjust it and move on. And we're going to find out what works. I think taking on a learning frame, it's called reframing in NLP. Taking on a frame of learning makes things a lot easier in life. If you just look at it as you're learning what works for your body, then you know what you're paying for. Hey, I'm carbohydrate sensitive. Carbohydrates don't work. Hey, I did keto, but I was eating bacon. I know many people eat bacon all the time thinking they're doing keto. And that's like fucking keto, dude. That's being a fat ass.
Yeah.
So I think it comes down to get rid of the idea of just you're going to do this diet and it's 100% going to work, and take on the learning frame of, hey, let's go have some fun and see what happens. I think that would be a great attitude to take on in this. Especially if you're new, let's have some fun and see what happens. Enjoy it.
Because now you're with somebody that knows how you're going to read the symptoms that's going to happen as you follow this, right? So you tell me this is happening. You have no idea why, but I know why. So now we're going to change this. And people need to understand, as you change, your diet has to change anyway. It's almost like your diet has to stay a step ahead of your body. So I could give you something and it could work, but in a few weeks, it's going to stop fucking working. And I mean, so you have to constantly be changing shit anyway. So yeah, you have to take a learning approach and have to learn that, okay, from now on, when you notice this happens, it's not what you think it is. It's actually because you're not eating enough or because this meal's timed off, and we got to fix that. And once people start learning that stuff, it's like when they go in the gym and they're afraid, they don't know what they're doing, but then you show them how to stimulate the muscle and you're like, oh, this is what you're looking for when you come in here. This is what you're supposed to do. Not just move shit around and hope for the fucking best. Yeah. All of a sudden, weight training becomes interesting because people know what their goal is and they come in there. They know what they're supposed to do. So now they want to go because the unknown is gone. They're not just moving shit around and hoping for the best.
Yeah, that's actually my very first day with Mike. I'll never forget it. Like, he goes, what do you want to train today? I'm like, chest. I'm from Jersey. And I'll never forget that very first set. I never felt a burn like I've ever felt in my life. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? Everything I read from bodybuilding.com is gone. Every bro that I had, everybody has a bro whose uncle is a new Arnold and trained with him for like a week. That shit's gone. You know what I mean? Yeah, bro. My uncle is a power lifter. He used to train with Arnold. He told me that this that's where most people get their training from. And it was that one set right there that was like, okay, yeah, I'm fully committed to everything I've been doing was wrong. And when you commit yourself to your trainer and you give them time to learn your body, that is the best thing. I see people go from trainer to trainer to trainer to trainer. And I was like, look, give this guy time to learn their body. This guy's got a good reputation. He's got good athletes. You see him. He's been doing good. Thing about trainers is we got to learn how your body adjusts to shit. That takes some time. It takes a couple months sometimes. And, I said, Mike's going to learn my body. Mike knows my body better than I do. And that's why with him, training with him for 8 years now of him knowing exactly how my body works. So he's able to build it perfectly. He knows exactly how my body responds. If I went from him and then I went to somebody else, I would nowhere be as near where I am right now. So trust your trainer and give them time to learn your body.
Yeah. As long as you're making progress and everything. I mean, yeah, you're right. I think we're ending on that note. We're about to hit an hour, but everybody, thanks for leaving all the comments and joining to watch us. And we'll be back next Thursday with another topic. I know we're going to have some guests here soon, so we should probably plan on the first time we're going to do that. I'd like to do one within the next week or so.
Yeah, I'll reach out to my buddy Akira. He would actually talk about. I think we should talk about some practical tools we can use to help control fear or get rid of fears, whether it be on stage or in a competition, or whether it be if you're having trouble talking to that girl, just tools that we can use. I know them, so I would like him to teach them though. So I think we should work on that next week, and I'll see if he wants to come on board.
Awesome. And then we'll put the info out once we get it. Thanks everybody for joining. Dibs, good to talk to you again. We'll see you.